Hello, Yeshua Network. Nathan Wheeler here, founder of the page. Blessed to be here with you today and to be making this special announcement video. I hope that you will stay tuned, especially if this page blesses you at all or has blessed you. I do pray that you will listen to this video and you will pray about what is happening here. I believe it's a good thing. I think it's exciting things, and I'm very excited to announce what's happening, at least with me, and what I believe will be the future of this ministry. Before I go any further, I do want to announce that I'm going to be posting pictures right after this video of something called CDS, Child Development Services, based here in Central Tennessee. I mean, they're probably all over the place, but specifically a branch that we're working with here in Central Tennessee near Nashville. And it takes children who and families, not just children, but children mostly, and families who get taken from either homes where they're creating meth or drugs, and the house is filled with the drug, and the children are in danger, or if like a fire comes and consumes a house and it just gets demolished. When the fire department comes and the police come and they pick up the children and the family, this is the service that provides them new clothes, provides them a place to sleep, food, and all of that. So Yeshua Network has never done any type of fundraising because of just the dangers of online fundraising and con artists and scams and things like that. We did try to help one family, and it turned out that they were conning everybody, and so it really put me on high alert. This was early on the online ministry, and years and years and years ago, and so it really made me very cautious about ever doing it again. But this is a group that I myself have been meeting with for over a month and a half now, or maybe even 2 months now, getting to know the people, getting to learn their operation. And so I will be posting pictures of me myself that I took at their operations, and I will be posting a GoFundMe that if there is anybody who is looking for a cause, or you want to just bless this cause when you see the post, it'll be a GoFundMe page. I'll post the pictures, and it's not going to be a huge amount. We're not going for, we've never done this before, so I figure start off small. I'm thinking like maybe $500, maybe $1,000, and something like that. I know that's a lot of money, but I'm saying for 2.6 million people, that shouldn't be a whole lot. I think it's about a half a cent for 1/10 of the people, and we'll accomplish that goal. My math is bad. I'm sure it's far less than that even. But I am very, very happy to announce that Yeshua Network is making movements to start actually engaging in the other parts that the Bible has commanded us to do, helping children, orphans, feed the hungry, and things like that. We're going to actually start doing that. I did help with building beds for the orphans as well. Believe it or not, there's orphans, 400 orphans currently living just here in Central Tennessee, living on the ground. They're sleeping on the ground at night. And that literally broke my heart. I started to tear up when they told me the other parts of these children's living experiences. I hardly could stay in the meeting. I almost left the room. And I was so moved by that. I figured even if nobody at Yeshua Network wants to help them, I feel I must. With whatever little resources I have, whether it be my time, my hands. I'm so moved by the stories of what this group is doing that I had to be a part of it. And I hope that if you decide, or I know many of you are helping other causes and people in your own life and in your own part of the world, but if this is something where you're looking to help, then I will be posting that soon, and you guys will see that post with the pictures and the GoFundMe link. And now we here at Yeshua Network have something that we're going to begin to support, and I hope that it grows and we continue to support more causes. I think this is definitely a beautiful thing that the Lord has commanded us to do, and I believe that this ministry will be blessed even more than it already has been. So I'm super blessed by that. So I definitely wanted to start off with that for people who won't stick around for the rest of the video. So what this video is actually about is me and this season that I'm in 2007. If you don't know how this ministry got here, I will give you a very extremely short version. 2007, I had a men's Bible study in my 2-bedroom apartment in Hollywood. And the Lord told me to do something called Truth Me Free, which was to make a video series on YouTube, which I thought was insane. So I rebuked Satan when I heard that, because I did not think that God would tell me to make a YouTube channel. And I fought him for 5 years as he was continually, literally speaking to me saying, create a YouTube channel called Truth Me Free. and tell your testimony, and people will believe in me and will believe me because of your testimony. And I just didn't believe it. I just didn't believe that I could be used or would be used for such a thing. So I fought him for 5 years, and then he killed me. I literally died at the hospital. I had a near-death experience where I went on the other side, and the angels were yelling at me, telling me, you are hearing from God. You do need to create this series. You will create this series, and this will be the result of it. And the light of God was there, and then the guy gets sent back, and every single thing the angels have told me, that the Lord told me on that day, 2027 or 2007, has happened. So I now am in this ministry, and from Truth Me Free bloomed also Yeshua Network, and that's how I'm here. So that was back in 2013. I finally started this ministry, and that's the very extremely short version of this ministry and what's been happening. So 9 years I've been doing this, posting about anywhere from 1 to 3 videos a week. There's literally 1,000-something videos, I think, in my entire portfolio, if you include Truth Me Free and Yeshua Network. If not, it's extremely close, which is a lot of content. And a lot of the content is around 3 hours long. And so I say all this just for people who might be new to the page and wondering, you know, who is this guy? What has he done? Why is he talking to us today on this video? I want to confess something that, like, you may not know, again, if you don't know my testimony, but the Lord, I realize I am blessed, and I don't say that to boast. I say that in humility to acknowledge what the Lord has done in my life and how he has blessed me, that I have always had the Lord with me and always telling me basically, you know, at least what's next in my life. And even if it was things I didn't want to hear, like, you're going to make a YouTube channel and call it Truth Me Free, he has always spoken to me. And honestly, for, I would say, the first time in my life without any guidance whatsoever or any understanding of my future, happened about 2-3 years ago when I was in an RV on a tour. It was about 2.5 years ago, I think now. Wow, time flies. I was on tour, going city to city, baptizing, fellowshipping, meeting with people, helping to establish home churches, if you will, or congregations, I don't know what you want to call it, but just gatherings in the home to share the Bible and so forth. And during that, the RV crashed. And the last kind of for my life thing that I was told was to get into the RV and go city to city and do the tour. Well, I finished the tour, and I had never seen anything else beyond that tour. And that's very strange, because normally the Lord gives me what comes next before the season closes. And so I'm now in a season of I have no idea what the Lord wants me to do with my life. Yet in this season, something has also happened that is not normal for me. Normally the Lord tells me something before it happens, so that when it happens, I can, like, work towards that goal. And this time something different has happened, where something has fallen on my lap, and I wasn't told that, you know, from the Lord, that it was from him. So this thing is called Symbiosis. It's a company that would basically help feed the world, save the planet, clean up the soil, and create food abundance, not just here where I live, but all over the place, and also help with green energy, so that there is a renewable energy source. And I believe that this would save lives, because it would provide jobs, it would create stability in certain economics, and it would definitely feed people in times where we are going to have food shortages. We already have food shortages. So I perceive this as a ministry, but even though it has come and fallen on my lap, I myself have not been told that this is what the Lord wants me to do. And from reading the entire Bible, and from my own past experiences, I've learned that it's wise not to do anything when the Lord is not telling you to do it. And so even though I perceive this as a very good thing, it's not something that like create a YouTube channel and tell my life story. It's not something I want to do. It's not something I woke up one day and said, okay, you know, I have this desire to do something. Now I have to figure out how to accomplish that desire. This, like when the Lord told me to go to, you know, YouTube and create my life story testimonial page, I was like, this doesn't make sense. I just don't see me doing this. Like, it doesn't match what I have envisioned for my life or my time or my skill set or whatever, right? Like I've worked in, you know, like anybody, like an engineer or a mechanic or anybody, you know, an artist, they go to school, they learn these skills, and then, you know, once they spend all this money and time to develop these skills, they look to obviously get a job in those skills. So when the Lord said, I want you to go onto YouTube and go city to city and baptize people and share the gospel, like kind of Paul style, I was like, yeah, wrong guy. So in this circumstance, I'm perceiving again, he's got the wrong guy. Like this is an environmentalist thing, it's a agricultural thing, it's a government thing. Like we'll be working directly with the government because we'll be trying to feed governments, you know, all over the world and get governments off of oil and get them onto renewable energies. And I'm like, I mean, I've dealt with government people before and I've done things on other spectrums, but this is not my wheelhouse at all. And I have the knowledge, strangely enough, and the connection, strangely enough, but it's not my thing. So like the Truth Me Free, I'm very much reluctant to do so. But the difference is that Truth Me Free was something God actually told me to do out of nowhere. Like I said, in the middle of a men's Bible study one day in 2007. And where this is, you know, it fell on my lap. I went to a restaurant. A gentleman came up and spoke to me. That gentleman invited me to become part of a committee of leadership for the county that's near me. I went and I worked with that county to solve their problems. Ironically enough, I had the solution to a 20-year problem they've had. And I tried to just give the problem away to them. And they were like, no, we need a leader. You know, you're obviously that guy, you need to do it. And I was like, no, that's not me. That's not what I'm doing with my life right now. I have other things I'm doing. And so some of you already know this. I apologize for the repeat, but I know that there's people who are going to watch this for the first time. So I have, I'm now getting to the point where I got a government contract. It's already done. It's already written out. And I need to hear from the Lord before I execute, before I move forward. I need to hear from the Lord that this is what he wants me to do. And I also need to hear from the Lord exactly how he wants me to operate Yeshua Network. And to give a little bit of background for those who are actual participating members of Yeshua Network, I started Yeshua Network very shortly after Truth Me Free. I got the blue check mark from Facebook, and the page had been handed to me from another gentleman named Nathan. But this was when it was first started. I think it was originally called Jesus is King was what the page was called, and then I changed it to Yeshua Network. And I never told a soul. My own mother didn't know. Like there wasn't a single person in the world except the person who had the register before, who knew I owned the page. And then one day, out of nowhere, the Lord says, go on to Yeshua Network and start posting videos, you know, start doing like Q&As and tell people you're the owner of the page. And it was weird because I had not told anybody for like 4 or 5 years. And so I went on and I made what would have seemed like a super random video. And I was like, hey everybody, my name's Nathan Wheeler. And for the last 4 years, I've been the owner of this page. And now it's time for me to start saying hello to everybody. And the next thing you know, 3 months later, the page got hacked. And what was funny about that is that the only reason I got it back was I drove all the way to Facebook headquarters, knocked on their actual door, and the Lord specifically told me, make videos and tell people you're the owner of the page. And I thought to myself, like, that's not normally something I would do because that seems kind of like pompous or kind of, you know, like, look at me. And so I was like, okay, Lord, like, I have to trust when he says to do stuff that doesn't make any sense because I learned from the Truth Me Free experience. And so I did, and it was a good thing I did because when I got to Facebook headquarters and I knocked on the glass, they opened it up and saw videos where at the beginning of every video I said, hi, my name's Nathan Wheeler, I'm the owner of the page. And then they saw that guy standing in front of them saying, I got hacked, the page got stolen from me. And that was the way I got the page back. So since then though, the Lord hasn't told me exactly what to do with the page in general, but he's given me these other kind of moments where he said, I need you to do this thing, or I want you to do this thing. And one of them was called Be the Light. It's a group that we have where we light a candle on the 22nd of every month as a day to just let Christians all around the world of all types, all denominations be unified and say, you know, I just want to celebrate Christ and be a unity as he commanded us. And it's a super big blessing, and it seemed like such a small thing, but it has really turned into, for me, it's something I look forward to every month. And then he also told me to do this thing called Entire Bible Read Through with my buddy Alex, and he specifically said Alex is going to do it with you. And I've been waiting a long time. People have been asking a long time for me to do some type of video series about the full extent of the Bible, and I knew I couldn't do it alone. And so my wisdom on that was right, because when Alex came, and the whole thing has become the biggest blessing I can think of it being now. If you guys haven't checked that out, I hope that you do. It's called Entire Bible Read Through. You can see it on our YouTube page, which is Yeshua Network. And then the other thing he has told me to do is something called 40-Day Holiness Challenge. So these are 3 things that he specifically told me to do that have kind of become the center pillars now of this ministry. And so he hasn't given me kind of the general concept or the future of how Yeshua Network is supposed to go. I have a feeling and I have an idea, but I've also learned that feelings and ideas, nothing more deceitful than man's heart. So I've learned to discern even my own discernment. I hope that makes sense, because a lot of times I think we get confident in our discerning ability, and I hope that I have demonstrated on this page over the last 9 years, and truth me free, that when it comes to ministry, at least in my life, I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I do hope that in ministry I have proven that I am very slow to do anything or say, you know, anything about the Lord or the Bible or the Spirit unless I'm really solid about it. And the thing is right now I'm at a point where the way the ministry has been going has been absolutely spiritually, unbelievably amazing and blessed. Like I'm beyond shocked at the blessing that this ministry has become, and how solid and like true to the Bible this ministry is. And that has a lot to do with the participants, the people who have come forward and found this ministry and have stepped forward and said, you know, this is what I'm looking for. I'm also looking for something that's not fluff or just here to make me feel good, but it's something that's going to actually give me those deep roots so that I can have abundant fruits. And I need to know the truth, even if it's unpleasant. I need to actually have a real understanding of what the Bible is telling me in its whole, in its entirety. And that you know, I'd love to say that should be a common thing in Christianity, but it's not. It's actually insanely rare. And we have hundreds of people here that are actively participating in making this ministry a ministry of just that with us here. And I've been waiting my whole life for it, and ironically enough, the Lord has allowed me to have it here with you guys. So, but the problem of that is that this has also been a ministry that has prided itself on not taking you know, any tithes ever, and not really doing any type of asking for donations. I don't want to say I've never asked for donations. I have had asked for donations a few times, and people have helped. For the tours, we asked for donations so that I could tour, because I didn't have the money at the time to just go on my own. And you know, I was serving. Some of the tours weren't fully financed, so there was some issues, and I had to borrow some money sometimes, but that was okay because the Lord provided, right? But the thing is that 9 years now I've been doing this, and I've not really had a break in 9 years, and that's not an exaggeration. Like, I've literally not had a single break. I've not taken a vacation ever in my adult life. And I know most people at least have like 1 week off of work or 2 weeks off of work. And the reason why I think that's important, as I'm learning right now, is that, you know, I am super blessed by serving. Like, if I need to be filled with the Holy Spirit, if I need to be blessed, I have learned that it's best for me to go and find somebody to be a blessing to, and that's how I get fed the most. That's how I get filled with the Holy Ghost the most, is when I'm being a blessing. But ironically enough, is it ironic? Is it weird? I don't know. Is it funny? I don't know what the right word is, to be honest. But the thing is that sometimes when I'm being a blessing, I have found that my physical body pays the price. Meaning, like, so for instance, like, I often will do 3 hours, sometimes up to 6 hour Q&As with no break. Like, I might take a potty break, like pause the video or get away from the video, but I have gone, I know for sure, at least 6 hours without any even restroom break on a Q&A here, and I just go the whole time. It's just, you know, question after question, fellowship just nonstop. I'm talking the whole time, and I'm super blessed by it. I wouldn't have it any other way, and I want everybody to know I would not have it any other way. I am always the more blessed because I get to be a blessing, right? So, but the thing is that when I'm done, it's like running a marathon. You know, I feel amazing during the video. I feel amazing being the blessing. The Holy Spirit is pouring in and out and through me, and I can feel it. I know you guys testify that you feel it when those moments are happening, but afterwards my body is just totally like ruined. Like it's like I have to just lay there and zone out. And that sounds fine and dandy, but the problem is that I have to do other things, or have had to do other things, in order to pay my rent or put a roof over my head, whether that was, like, let's say doing yard work or something like that, or I had my companies that I had before. And the thing is like, it's really hard to go from, for me, maybe for you guys it would be easy, but I'm just going to confess how the difficulty for me. It's really hard for me to go from you know, questions that will guide somebody's soul, questions for which every single word I will be held responsible for on Judgment Day, and then just kind of jump back into the world and kind of, you know, try to crunch numbers or inspire sales teams, or go and try to close somebody, or try to solve a problem where somebody's trying to scam or rip you off, or, you know, when you own a company, you're dealing with all these things, right? So it's not something I find myself very easily able to jump in from one and right into the other. Like, I need a legitimate, sometimes, like, crash break, where I just kind of stare at the wall or stare at out the window at the trees, and just kind of let my mind and my soul rejuvenate. And this is biblical. I mean, Yeshua did this. He would be a blessing. He would go out, he would do the healings and all this stuff, and then he would disappear and, like, leave the crowds. He'd leave the apostles and everything, and he would just go and be with the Lord. And that's how he would, you know, heal up, and he'd get recharged, you know. So my thing is that I have been trying to burn the candle at both ends, and I have to admit that I've kind of gotten to the point where the Bible says something that's super interesting, and I never would have applied it. I hope everybody's rolling with me. I know I'm all over the place, but roll with me on this. The Bible has a sentence where Yeshua says you can't have two masters. You'll either end up resenting one or hating the other, or something like that. And I don't know why I'm blanking on that passage right now, but the thing is that I feel like I'm not very good at right now I've not been good at basically serving the world for, like, an earthly job and doing ministry. And this ministry never turns off. And that's the other thing that I think has really burnt me out. Like, people have access to me 24 hours a day. I have a sleep issue, so I average sleep 4 hours a day, and sometimes 3, to be completely honest. I don't even know how I'm functioning, because I've learned that if most people got 3 to 4 hours of sleep at night, they would probably have to go to the doctor at some point. I realize that I'm not really finding a balance. I'm not finding a healthy way to live in the world and be able to serve in the way that I have. So I've run my well dry. Physically speaking, not spiritually speaking. And it's super, super important to me that everybody understands that. My spiritual well is, like, overflowing. It is like, I'm so blessed and so overwhelmed with the joy of the Lord that there's no words for it. And it's like, I don't even know if I want to try, because I would not do it justice of what the Lord has given me. And I don't want to not do justice to what the Lord has given me, because it's so abundant and amazing. And I absolutely love serving. It's so funny, the thing that I fought God on forever, 5 years, is now the only thing it's the only thing I feel I can do, right? It's like, it's all I want to do. Is not even like the saying. It's like, it's all I feel I can do. So when this comes to the season where my physical body and my physical needs, right, have become so depleted, that I now realize I cannot move forward in Yeshua Network the way I've been moving forward. And a lot of that is my own doing. And I'm going to acknowledge that it's not anybody here has let me down. You know, I've not really allowed people the opportunity to really support me, the human, this part, the flesh, the bone, the thing that needs food and a roof over its head and clothes, like that part of me. I try my best. I want to be so very careful with my wording. I want to perpetually fight my flesh and reduce my flesh. I must decrease so that he increases, right? Now, the reason I hesitate is because I'm obviously not perfect with it. There's obviously things that I want with my flesh. There's a comfortable bed, you know, there's I don't know, let's say a better earphone for me from my phone, you know, things like this. And I feel guilty. Like, I feel this unbelievable guilt, like if I buy a new phone and I have to convince myself, well, I use my phone for 90% of my videos, so technically it's also a ministry tool, you know, and this phone has been paid for like over a year, and I'm just like, I want certain things like any human being would want, but every time I want it, I feel this horrific guilt, which means that like the normal stuff that I think people get for themselves or do for themselves, like a vacation or like a nice piece of clothing, or I don't know, just anything that just like kind of validates the hard work you've been doing in an earthly sense, right? Because we as believers store up our heavenly treasures, but in an earthly sense, like we do work for things and then we get the reward of those things, whether it's a house, whether it's a car, whether it's whatever, right? But the thing is like when I get my monthly bill and I pay my monthly bill for the car, the truck you see me in now, I feel this horrific guilt every single time I pay my bill. And that guilt is that there's somebody who has to make a donation to me because I'm in ministry full time now, which is like 24 hours a day in all reality. And I feel guilty that somebody else is taking money out of their hard-earned and they're paying for my truck. And like, and then it's no longer a joyful thing. And so, and then if the money doesn't come in, if enough money doesn't come in, then I have to reach out to somebody who's a friend or somebody who's a supporter of the page. I have to reach out and say, hey, you have said that if I am ever in need, that you will, you know, to reach out to you, and I'm in need. And I find myself doing that more and more recently, especially as we get close to the holiday season. It happens every year. Every year around the holiday seasons, people don't send as many donations. And since I don't do videos and I don't do the thing where like, where I say, hey, make a contribution and support the ministry for a year or something like the radios do or the TV channels do and stuff like that, right? I don't want to do that because I feel that it really taints the spirit of the ministry. Like when you're in the Holy Ghost flow and then they start doing that, like I don't know about you, but it messes with my spirit. Like I'm like, oh man, I was flowing so good and now you're like asking me for money. But the thing is like I've always said that I understand people that do that. I understand why the churches need to do that. They have to pay electricity bills and mortgages and they have to pay for their staff. There's no staff here. It's just me and my buddy Alex, and then people who donate their time because they've found blessing in this ministry and they donate their time to continue to perpetuate the blessing of this ministry. But other than that, we're all kind of donating our time, and technically I'm the only one who's getting donations from people who see that we put it in the description of videos and they make a donation. So the point is that I want to explain to people that this crossroad that I'm at, that I've already announced, is not that Nathan Wheeler is depleted spiritually, but it's my physical needs, my earthly needs are like authentically not being met, and I'm not able to get by every month. I'm getting into credit card debt, and I've just put myself in a massive amount of credit card debt on my own accord. And the reason I did that was because I live on a property and it's kind of my job to take care of the property. It's kind of like the exchange for my rent kind of thing. And I realized that the tools I had before were just not tools that I felt efficient for me and my energy, and I need to streamline my time and my energy. And I realized like I need to make an investment into the right tools to do the right job, and so that I can keep my roof over my head and still have the psychological energy to come on and do videos. So this was a choice I made on my own, but I didn't necessarily, you know, have any idea of how I would pay those bills and things like that. So I know this whole video is kind of about, you're hearing this and it's all over the place. I have no idea how to talk about this smoothly, like in an easy arc of the story, so I apologize. I need to hear from the Lord. One, about on whether or not I'm allowed to ask for donations on a regular basis on this ministry, and two, how he wants me to do that. I do ask for donations when I'm in real dire need, or when I'm in need. I do post a link for donations, but the truth of the matter is that there's not a whole lot of donations coming in, and there has been an influx since I made my last video where I talked like this. And thank you everybody, because I actually paid off like 3 of my credit cards, and I'm able to take care of some of the business that I need to take care of for Symbiosis because of donations as well. And so I'm super, super grateful for that, because that was really a needed thing, and people really stepped up and came through. But the thing that breaks my heart is I feel like I don't want the donation thing to be a guilt thing or like a Nathan's hurting thing. Like, I want it to just be a blessing that people do out of their heart, like not something I have to ask for. But you know what? That's kind of ridiculous, right? Like, we all have so much going on in our lives. We all have things that we can put our money to, and we, you know, if people think that I'm okay, or they think that I'm being taken care of, even though this ministry may bless them, I understand that there's no reason for them to go, well, let me send him more money, right? Like, oh, let me send him my money if there's other people who are taking care of him. There's 2.6 million people on Yeshua Network. I'm sure this guy's being taken care of. And so I understand all that. And that's why I'm saying nobody I don't feel like this community has let me down. I don't feel like this community has done anything wrong or behaved in an inappropriate way in any way, shape, or form. I believe I am my own worst enemy in this situation. I know that I have a massive issue with asking for donations because I, one, feel an unbelievable guilt. I can't buy a loaf of bread without feeling guilty. Like, why should I? Like, there's the homeless people, like there's people who are orphans and stuff. Like, well, why should I be getting a donation so I can get a loaf of bread? Like, that should be going to somebody in more need, right? But then I can't make ministry if I'm not nourished. So there's this really weird, like, torment going on in me, and I'm confessing this, right? Like, I've confessed this before, but I'm really getting to the point where, like, the thing that's different about right now is, like, I cannot wake up another day and keep doing this, because I think it's also having really, really bad effects on my physical body. I think a lot of my sleep issues, I'm having some more issues. I have now this thing called diverticulitis, which I found out can obviously be caused by stress and lack of sleep, because when you lack your sleep and you don't eat right, it causes this imbalance of bacteria and all this stuff. And this diverticulitis, if you don't have it, but if you do, it hurts like the dickens. Like, it really hurts. It's like not kidney stone pain. By the way, I have a kidney stone again. And it's like just things like this that, like, I realize, like, I'm not getting younger, and I have no nest egg, as they say. And if my situation should, God forbid, ever change in my current living situation, I would actually be homeless. And if the internet ever got turned off, or Facebook ever kicked me off for whatever reason, I would lose my ministry. I don't even know how people would hear from me or get to know me or send a donation to me. You know, and now I see that the internet is blocking all these people, and everybody's on the verge of being blacklisted or kicked off because they say something that somebody at the powers that be don't like it. And it's just like, I realize, like, I'm always on the edge of this cliff, and the stress level and the anxiety of it is really, like, it's something I cannot actually handle. And I've pushed myself for 9 years as far as I could go, and I feel really good about that, which is why from the last video I made to right now, which was like 2 weeks ago, the last video I made to now, I've been praying about how to make this video and how to enter into a season of seeking the Lord. And I know that I probably need to do a 40-day kind of really just surrender and focus on the Lord, because in the past, that's worked for me, and that's how I got the 40-day holiness challenge. The holiness challenge was something I've been doing since basically I kind of discovered it within Scripture, if you will. And I need to kind of do my own version of 40 days of being still and being with the Lord, because I don't want to do anything. This whole video can be summarized right now. I don't want to do anything with this ministry, like not a single thing, unless the Lord has told me to do it. I don't take this ministry and use it for myself. I don't use this ministry to benefit myself. Like, I don't use it to milk my situation and become more famous from it or anything like that. I don't sell books. I don't sell DVDs. I don't do subscriptions. We've never had a meetup where I've sold any tickets. And I've been beginning to think to myself, like, I understand why these other people do this. And I see them, taking vacations and traveling, and they have a normal life. Some of them even own homes. Many pastors and priests and rabbis own homes, and they have families and things like that. I don't have these things. And it's not that I'm jealous. It's just that I have to think to myself, what happens when this stops? Now I will become a burden on those who love me, because they don't want to see me fall into demise, or they don't want to see me crash. And then, like, what, I'll be taken in by somebody I love, and they'll put a roof over my head because they feel sorry for me, or because they don't want me to be homeless. And then I'll spend the rest of my life as like somebody's burden, right? So, and that could happen, I realize, with the way that health changes. That could happen at any moment, and I don't have any type of savings. I don't have any type of security at all whatsoever. I literally live donation to donation. So I am seeking the Lord because I need that to change. I need something to change. I need to be wise with my own life as well, but I need not to ever damage or tarnish what the Lord has given me with Yeshua Network for the sake of my own wants or needs, right? Because this is greater than me. This is significantly more greater than I could ever word, and I realize that, and I am not one to abuse it. Like, I really am not one to abuse it. So I think there has been confusion about what's going on with me, what I'm working towards. Why have I been kind of on hiatus? Why isn't an entire Bible read-through video going on tonight? Why didn't it go on last week? It's because I've been praying and I've been working towards figuring out, how to seek the Lord. And now that I have I believe it kind of figured out, not 100%, I think I do need to take a 40-day break. I know that's a long time, but this is the best time of the year to do it, ironically. And I do need to seek the Lord for symbiosis. I also need to seek the Lord on my skincare. I don't know if maybe what I should be doing is focusing back on the skincare, seeing if the Chinese things, because a lot of the stuff that I got from my skincare came from China, and COVID totally destroyed that situation. And then I didn't have the money to start back up because I depleted the funds that I had been making for that. I usually have to reinvest. You buy some bottles, you sell the bottles, you take the profit, you buy more bottles of skincare. That was my skincare company. And so I used that money, so I could never make a reorder, because it had been 2 years since I was able to make an order. So I'm trying to see now if that will come back, if I can get that going as well. But then I need to realize, whenever I do those things, they take away time from me doing this as well. And so I have to find out what the Lord wants me to do, how He wants me to balance it, and I also need to basically turn off my phone, legitimately. I need to have time away from my phone being able to ring at 3 o'clock in the morning from an email or something that you guys send out. And the part that's hard for me is those emails that come in at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning or 1 o'clock in the morning, are the emails that are usually dire. They're dire emails. Somebody I love is in the hospital. Somebody I'm 2 inches away from, killing myself or getting an abortion or leaving my family or running away. They're those type of emails and comments. And it's I have gotten voicemails from a friend of mine. His name was Ryan. He called me in the middle of the night, or it was late at night. He called me, and I knew he was going through a hard time, and I didn't answer the phone. and because I didn't have the energy to deal with his problem. And when I woke up the next day, I checked my voicemail, and it said, "Hey Nathan, it's me, Ryan. I'm missing my brother. His brother accidentally died by mixing pills and alcohol, and he said, I'm really missing my brother. I'm not doing well. I need to talk to you." And he had contacted me maybe like once every 3 days, and every 3 days he was not doing well. He was like on the verge of suicide, and I was having a fight with my girlfriend that day, and I just didn't have the emotional, psychological issue to pick up the phone and be there for my friend. Well, I didn't pick up the phone that day, and he died that night. So I live with that the rest of my life. And the thing is that I have tried to answer every single email that has come in over the last 9 years in a timely fashion, so that that would never happen again with one of you guys, right? Or anybody else out there. And I always think of it as the Lord has put it on somebody's heart to reach out to me, of all people on planet Earth. I don't value myself to be the right person for somebody to reach out to, but I'm humble enough to know that if the Lord put it on somebody's heart to reach out to me when they're having a kind of a make or break life moment, that I perceive that as a blessing unto me, that I get to serve that person in some way, shape, or form, and to give them hopefully very biblical advice, and to give them biblical encouragement. And so far, I have gotten positive results on everybody. So, you know, when I could help them, I got positive results. So there's times where I can't help people too. But, so it's really, really hard for me, to think to myself, it's okay to turn off the phone, because, like, how do I value a life? Like, how do I value a marriage? How do I value a baby, according to my time? Like, if you could go back and put it on a table, let's say, and you say, Nathan, you know, this person is going to die, or you have to have absolutely no life for 9 years, you know, and you're going to be available for all people on the internet at any time they want to reach out to you. You know, which one are you going to choose? Are you going to let this person die, or are you going to give your availability solid for 9 years? And obviously I've chosen to give my availability solid for 9 years. But it's easy when you put them side by side like that, right? Like, you put them side by side, and it's easy to choose the other person over yourself. I think it's easy. What's hard for me to do is to find that time for me, and to find that time for me to get done the things I need to get done, so I can build that nest egg, so I can have that physical support when I get off of this, or when I'm done with those type of transaction emails and conversations, that I don't have to now become a burden onto somebody else. And I hope this totally makes sense, right? Like, I hope that you really understand, like, what I'm fighting with, what my struggle is. You know, I'm not complaining, because I think maybe that probably was perceived as in the past videos as I'm complaining. I'm not. I'm just not dumb enough to make a move, specifically, especially with ministry, unless the Lord tells me, you do this. And the Lord has never told me how to manage my energy, how to manage my time. And I think that part of that is honestly, maybe you're in ministry, maybe you can relate to what I'm about to say, but I think sometimes, like, the Lord doesn't give us guidelines like that because he wants to see what we'll offer up, right? Because the Bible says that we become a living testimony. We become a living sacrifice. Some of us think that the only type of martyr is a martyr that dies from this world, right? But I think that there's living martyrdom. I think that, you know, we become living sacrifices. We live, and that's our sacrifice. We suffer daily unto the Lord. We reduce ourselves daily unto the Lord, and that's a testimony unto him, right? It's not necessarily you have to die in order to show that you're willing to give your life. You can give your life every day to God. And so I feel like the Lord has not told me how to manage my time, because I think that the last 9 years have kind of been a test. You know, how much of yourself will you give, Nathan? How much of yourself will you do? At what cost, too? To your friendships, family, relationships, and, you know, even jeopardizing possibly a roof over your head, multiple times. And so it's like, I really have to, and the whole time, in case there is anybody watching this who has ministry of their own, the whole time too is being misunderstood, right? Like, it's very, very hard, I think, for people who have a normal life situation to look at my life, not on camera, but behind the scenes, and see me, let's just say, you know, a friend comes over and they see me literally staring at the wall for, like, let's say 4 hours. And I'm just replaying everything I said in the video I made, or staring out the window and it looks like I'm doing nothing. And I'm just zoning out, like maybe I'm the world's laziest person in the world, right? Like literally, like the laziest person in the world. If you like had a camera on me, you might be like, he doesn't do anything. He goes on, he makes a few videos, he logs off, and then he just stares out the window and he does nothing. But I believe the Bible tells us that, you know, Christ did something similar. You know, he would go and he would just spend time with the Lord after he served and he blessed, and he would need the Lord to heal him of everything that drains out of us when we're in ministry. And I hope this is speaking to somebody who has ministry or wants to get into ministry. I am persuaded that I haven't done anything wrong. I'm persuaded that I have not lived my life wrong, that I've done good in this ministry. And like, I know that there are people in my life who watch me and perceive me, and they don't understand, and they get frustrated and they get mad, and they see that I'm suffering in my physical needs, and then they say something along the lines of like, why don't you just go get a job at Starbucks? Or why don't you just go get a normal job? Or why don't you get a job that you're capable of, like, you know, doing sales for $200,000 a year in corporate sales or something like that. And the thing is like, I know that none of them, possibly some of them, you know, Alex, I'm here at Alex's house right now, some of them are watching this video and maybe they're thinking that was me. I've said that to this guy. And the thing is that I don't share the emails that come in. So if you guys email me, you know, I keep it private, but if I don't share the details, I don't say, well, this is what I'm dealing with today. I'm dealing with the fact that, like, maybe I helped somebody off of a cliff, or maybe I didn't, or maybe I'm fighting somebody who has a massive amount of false teachings, and I'm doing my best to try to get truth into their minds and in their hearts. And if you've ever talked to a believer who has false teachings in their head and you're trying to convince them, you know how draining of an experience that is when you minister onto them, whether you're just being a brother or sister in Christ. But it drains you and it messes with your mind the whole day, and you have to kind of seek the Lord for it. You have to be still and allow the Lord to come and give you that peace right afterwards, right? So I feel that I've done that good job, but then I see that, you know, like I said, I see that my physical life is suffering because I don't ask for the tithes, or specifically I won't ask for tithes, but donations, and then people around me who love me, they'll suffer a bit to try to help me, and now I become an annoyance and a burden and a frustration for them. So if the Lord wants me to work at Starbucks or corporate sales, he needs to tell me. And if the Lord wants me to do my skincare company again, then he needs to tell me. If he wants me to do Symbiosis, he needs to tell me. If he wants me to ask for donations on a regular basis on this page, he needs to tell me. And I pray that people do watch this video. If like, this video to me is really important, even though it's all over the place. It's really important because I feel like the more I make a video like this and the more I explain to you, I feel like people are getting a much fuller picture of who the person is on the other side of the camera and what the person on the other side of the camera is experiencing. And it's important to me. It's super important to me that people actually do know. And I've kind of kept my personal life private over the last 9 years. You know, people online know more about me than my family members, but I've told the spiritual side of my life. And I'm very open and transparent with that. But there's the personal, like the earthly side of my life, the side that needs a roof over its head and food in its belly and you know, love and friendship and things like that. And that I never talk about. Like, I really don't ever talk about. And I feel that because I don't talk about it, everybody thinks like Nathan's always okay or everything is fine. And I am always okay because I'm always able to put my nose down like a bull and just run through the china shop and just allow everything around me to break except for ministry. Like, I'm okay with my whole world shattering, but not ministry. And that doesn't mean that the people who love me and see me around me and see me behind the curtain, if you will, behind the camera, and when they see my life just shattering to pieces, they start to put the pressure on, right? Out of good, friendly advice. Hey, you know, maybe you need to cut back on the ministry, or hey, maybe you need to not answer so many emails, or maybe you need to turn your phone off, or maybe you know, you shouldn't sit there for 4 hours just looking out the window. Like, maybe the Lord can speak to you while you're at Starbucks, you know, doing kind of a dumb job like that. And nobody who works at Starbucks is being dumb. I'm saying, like, this is the way I'm treated. So, you know, and the thing is like, it doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work like that. You don't see people who are, you know, suicide counselors or counselors in general, you know, able to go and just do like they're not able to go and like talk somebody out of suicide and then go and just jump into like a happy-go-lucky mood. Like, if they do, well, God bless them. That's not me. Especially when you're thinking about their soul, their eternal soul, right? Which is the heavier part of it. So anyways, I'm rambling, but I'm not. This is really important information for me to share with you, even if you don't think it is. It's important for me. So, I need to be told by the Lord, because this way I can wake up and know that whatever it is, I know I won't have guilt about it ministry-wise. I know that the Lord will approve whatever it is because He told me. And that has to be the case, because I cannot deal with ministry being broken. I have done things in ministry before, and one of the greatest examples is in entire Bible read through. I had mentioned this thing about Moses, where I compared Moses to Yeshua, and I didn't think I was saying anything wrong, but because I was kind of, you know, in my description comparing Moses to Yeshua, or even putting Moses in some type of place where I had the right to compare Moses to Yeshua, the Lord chastised me spiritually so bad that He gave me for the first time in my life the fear of God. And that was for like, you know, that was for like maybe 30 minutes of my life. He chastised me. And when I lost this page, when it got hacked, it was at a time where there was people around me trying to convince me to start taking tithes and to become a 501c3. And I entertained the idea. And I feel like just because I entertained the idea and was like seeking the Lord, like, is this what you want me to do, Lord? Am I being stupid? Am I like not hearing your message? Am I being prideful in the fact that I won't take tithes? Like, is that a thing that you allowed? You know, is this why am I have to ask myself often, am I the problem? Right? That's, I think, the wise thing to start with. Start with you. Are you the problem? And I was saying, maybe I am. And I was seeking counsel from other people, and I was allowing other people to influence the page. And then the Lord took the page away from me. He took it away from me. But I believe I got the page back because I was in questioning. I was seeking the Lord, and I was entertaining it, entertaining the evil, let's just say. And by pure entertaining it in thought alone, not in action, but in thought alone, the page got taken away from me. So the Lord has an extremely short leash on me when it comes to ministry. Like, and if you were around for that time, you remember it. You remember what happened, and you also remember my response, and you know, hopefully you perceived the reality of the whole thing. Like, you perceived it for real. And so this hopefully speaks to you about the absolute depth of the sincerity of my fear of messing with this. But and no matter what, one way or another, the ministry is going to be affected. So if I have to, let's say, go to do sales for corporate sales, or I have to start another company, or try to get my skincare line and really run a skincare company, you're looking at least 40 hours a week right there. And that's just, honestly, 40 hours a week for either one of those jobs is baloney. Realistically, if you have a corporate sales job, you're actually looking at 60 hours a week. If you have a business you're trying to launch, especially in the beginning stage when you're the founder and the CEO and it's your energy, you're looking at 60 hours a week. Well, those 60 hours a week would be pulled from this ministry. So you know, this is what I have to decide. I have to not decide. This is what the Lord needs to tell me to do. The Lord needs to tell me, do I take 60 hours from the ministry, or do I take donations from the ministry? And if I do, how does that look like? What does that look like? And so this is where I'm going. This is what I'm praying about. And symbiosis and saving lives with that. Saving actual lives. I see that as absolute ministry. I've talked about the symbiosis, the company, before on here, but I've never actually talked about symbiosis, the spiritual part. I think I would like to make a video about that between, like, in the near future, maybe even tomorrow. I'd like to make a video about that and really bring people up on the spiritual side of symbiosis, because I've never actually addressed that. And I think that maybe tomorrow is Thursday, maybe Friday, maybe Shabbat's a good day to start. Maybe Friday night is a good night to start my 40 days. And I'll make a video about symbiosis. But I do feel I need to take a 40-day hiatus from ministry. And I am confessing now I have no idea what that looks like. I would say that there's not going to be any EBRTs. I know that will set us back 4 or 5 weeks. I apologize. We're already 2 weeks behind already on that. But you guys, I have to get this figured out, and I have to hear from the Lord. So I would say no more EBRTs until I come back. Maybe this will give people time to also catch up. Maybe it'll give people time to read ahead a little bit. I mean, you guys do whatever you want to do. You know what I mean? Like, I want to encourage you to also seek the Lord. I think to myself that there's a danger too, that there will be some people who really rely on this ministry. I know there are people who come here to be fed, and I'm so eternally, unbelievably honored and grateful that this ministry plays a role in so many people's lives as like a pillar of nourishment, spiritual nourishment. Like, I'm so unbelievably blessed, and I am humbled by it. I'm honored. I don't take that lightly at all. And I hope I've been a good steward of your devotion and your time and your tuning in, right? It's your time. And I pray I've been a very good steward of your time when you tune in. I pray I give you good quality and true, ministering back to you. But I know that this will be a hard time for a lot of people, but there are the groups. You guys can fellowship. And I just want you to know that I'm not even taking this hiatus lightly. And I hope the Lord answers me before 40 days. I hope he answers me within 24 hours. But I have to actually authentically hear from them. And for those people too who might be new to this, you don't know me, there's a lot of people out there who say, God said, and God told me to do this and that. Every time that God has told me to do something, since 2013, I have documented it, on video. And so if the thing that God told me didn't come true or ended up not being a blessing, there's documentation of it. And I would say I have a perfect track record. Every single time I've ever made a video and said the words, God has told me to do this thing, those things have become absolute real blessings and pillars of my life and the ministry. And they have been fulfilled, and they were done as the Lord said they would be done. So this is what God is saying, and then it got fulfilled. There's no record of me saying that God, not on camera for sure. Maybe one of my friends out there might say there was one day where you said, but I honestly can't think of it. And so I'm saying that again, not to boast, but just anybody who's new, who you might be going to churches or hearing Christians talk and they say, oh, God said, God said, God said, God's telling me, like all day long they say that. That's not me. I'm not one of those people. So when I say that I need God to talk to me, it's because it's really rare. Even though some people think it's super, it happens a lot. I guess it does comparatively to some people's lives, but to me, I'd appreciate if it happened a lot more. But I need to hear God on this, and I need to no longer be in the dark on all these matters. And there's even personal matters, private matters. I'm not talking about that. I need answers on too, obviously. So in this time, I'm going to ask that if you are somebody who wants to, excuse me, I hope that wasn't really loud. I had my earpiece in, so it might have been. If this ministry is a ministry that you do support, and you want to support, and you would like to help me, stay alive while continuing to do this ministry, at least in the interim before God tells me exactly what to do and how to do it. if you would be willing to make donations, at least for the next 40 days while I'm doing this, and while I'm seeking out the Lord authentically and being still and really seeking Him, I will be eternally grateful for that. I have really never asked for something like this before, but if there's a consistency that you are able to give, even if it's small, I will be eternally grateful for it. If in 40 days from now the Lord tells me I have to go to do business, or I have to go do a job, or I have to do both business and Yeshua Network, and He's going to tell me how to balance it, then, you know, I will be transparent about that. I will explain to people my financial situation, and you can then reassess, you know, your support for this ministry and myself of however you want to reassess it. But I can understand that if I am not making videos, or I'm not posting or answering emails, that people could very much lose interest in this ministry. They could forget about me, and so I understand that. And I want to just say ahead of time, I understand that that could be a risk that I'm taking, but the Lord, I have to seek the Lord right now. So if in that regard, that's a way that would be immensely helpful, because it just won't be another thing I have to stress about and think about. And the thing about stress and anxiety is it's producers of fear. And you guys know this, I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but I feel I really need to reduce the fear and the anxiety and the energy suck out of me, right? Like, cause like when I'm answering emails that are heavy, or you know, trying to help with divorces and suicides and deaths and cancer diagnoses and things like that, like that is an immense amount of energy leaving me, right? And again, it's my blessing to do so. But if I am going to be whole myself so that I can be a clean vessel for the Lord to come into, I need to take my time to be healed and to go into the desert for 40 days and to seek the Lord. And I need to remove the weight and the anxieties of life, because those are things that deafen our ears to the voice of God. Fear deafens our ears to the voice of God. He is not a God of fearful, you know, spirit or confusion. He's a God of understanding and grace and love. And so when we come to Him in faith, faith doesn't have fear. And so I need to remove my fear. So any way that you can support in that way to help with those things for at least the next 40 days, I'm eternally grateful, because then I can have that release and I can open up to Him more and be at peace about things. You specifically, be at peace with you guys. And and I will check in. I may not respond, I may not say anything, but I will check in and I will look at, you know, how things are going on the page. I believe, again, I'm going to listen to the Lord. If He says don't, then I won't, but I believe I will be. And I will see how everybody's doing and how things are going. And I pray that you are being there for one another. I pray that you are using all the tools that the groups have given us, that the groups have here, and that you will be blessing one another and ministering unto one another, and I hope that births a whole new thing for Yeshua Network, to be completely honest. And then I do ask specifically for prayer. I pray that you would pray for me, and you would pray for guidance and for the Lord to speak to me, and that the enemy would not come against me. And if he does, if the Lord wants him to come against me, but that I would have at least the strength and the focus and the, you know, the faith, encouragement, I don't know, all the goods of that a person needs while I'm going through my 40 days. So, and being still and knowing the Lord. My 40, basically I'm treating this like a 40 days in the desert, guys. Like legitimately, this is a 40 days in the desert for me. So if you pray for me, I would be eternally grateful for that. So if you don't have the ability, you know, or you want to do both, or but you want to support, I am somebody who believes 100% in the power of prayer, and I know that the more people that pray, the more that God hears. And I know that when you pray for me, I receive it. I'm just saying that right now. If you're praying in the name of Yeshua and you're praying for good and grace and mercy and love and protection on me, and blessings and guidance and knowledge and wisdom and discernment for me, I receive it in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach. So thank you so much. I know it's the holiday season too, so I'll just say to you now, happy holidays, no matter which one you're celebrating. I've made plenty of videos about all that. I do ask too that the fighting, that there not be fighting during these 40 days, because it'll be the holidays, it'll be the new year and stuff like that. I know I have a lot of requests and I'm making a video filled with a lot of information, but just no, there's no reason to fight. If you want to fight, you know, next year. Don't fight between now and next year. There's no reason. If the Lord has it on your heart to start a fight with somebody, or to argue with somebody about scripture, or argue with somebody about the holidays or something like that, I'm not saying that that's not a valid thing, and I'm not saying don't listen to the Lord. I'm saying here at Yeshua Network, I'm asking you to not do it here. I'm asking you to have this place be filled with support and love and grace and kindness. And, you know, if there's somebody doing something out of line that's hurting people, then by all means, defend the sheep, you know. But if it's just you having a wild hair and you feel like you need to post something about how wrong Christians are, or how wrong the church is, or how wrong people's idea of, or understanding of the gospel is, just save it. Just save it for a little while. Just give this page a rest as well. Just give it a rest. You know what I mean? Like, let people come here and be at peace, and let people come here and be rejoicing in what the Lord provides in positive, loving fellowship. And it's not people pleasing. I'm not talking about people pleasing. I'm talking about finding a way to love one another, like just for 40 days, right? So tomorrow I'll make a video about symbiosis and the spiritual side of it, and then Friday, Shabbat, I'll start my 40 days. I receive that unless the Lord says otherwise, which I'll keep you posted. And I'm saying in advance now, thank you so much for every single person. I know I have not written you back emails thanking you individually. I apologize. I'm really bad at that. It's just that, like, I need to get better at that too. I thank you so much for those who support. I see your support, obviously, and I want to say from the bottom of my heart, like, thank you. It is an immense honor for me to think that people would want to take their time and their efforts and support what the Lord is doing here with this ministry. It's not a small thing for me, ever. I never take it for granted, and I never think it's like a thing that I deserve or a thing like you should be doing. I always perceive it as grace and mercy on me and the ministry and support. So I can't say thank you enough. I'm always the long-winded guy, but I just want to say thank you so much. May the Lord bless every single one of you. May the Lord also guide you if you're at any type of crossroads. I know what it's like to be at this kind of crossroads, and it sucks, but it's also exciting because I have the faith that the Lord is actually going to speak, and the Lord is going to make it clear. And what an exciting thing to see the Lord's hand be revealed. Amen. So be blessed, be the blessing, and I pray that my actions are my true testimony, and that the fact that I, after 9 years of ministry, am seeking the Lord about this ministry. And I'm not saying, well, I have 9 years of online experience, which is more than most, and so therefore I know. It's never about what I know. It's never about what any of us know. It's about surrender. It's always and forever about surrender. And he will always, probably 99% of the time, do something that doesn't make any sense to us, or ask us to do something that makes no sense to us, and we are absolutely, like Gideon, not qualified to do, and that's why he chooses us. And like, you know, so I hope that this video isn't just a video of knowledge, but that this video is part of my action as a minister, as an example, and that you perceive the action I'm taking, not just the words I'm saying, and that you see my humility and me seeking the Lord, even though I have 9 years of experience. I do not want to make a move without him telling me to move, and I hope that speaks louder than anything I've ever said. So be blessed and be the blessing. Thank you, my brothers and sisters. Like, seriously, thank you.